Today we're going to talk about just how much of your monthly income is going to have to go to your home here in Spokane, Washington, and all across Washington State. So let's get into it. Hey there, if you don't know me, I'm Haydn Halsted, your real estate resource here in Spokane, Washington, and affordability has been a hot button topic for, going on years now, really. Spokane used to be the hub of affordability, and now that topic has changed, and it is getting harder and harder for people to afford rent and owning a home here. And of course, we have an influx of people moving to Spokane from out of the area, specifically most often to escape their even more unaffordable location that they're currently living in. So I have some really eye-opening data here that's going to show how much money on average you're going to spend per month on a home here in the Spokane area based on a percentage of your monthly income. And we're actually going to be able to compare it to every county in Washington State. If you're looking to move to Washington because you like the nature aspect of it, you like the no income tax, we're going to be able to break down every single county and actually help you decide maybe where your money is going to go a little bit further. So whether you're looking to move specifically to Spokane, Washington, or anywhere in Washington State, this video should be at least a little bit helpful for you. So I have a few different maps here that kind of break down different statistics by county in Washington State, and I'll do my best to link these down below so that you can continue doing your research in the future. But the first thing we're going to look at is this map by Matthew Gardner, who is an economist here in Washington State, a real estate economist specifically. And this is your annual principal and interest payments on a home as a percentage of household income. And so the first thing I want to say is that this is just principal and interest payments. And usually when we're talking about a mortgage payment, we're talking about principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. That's what makes up your payment. This is only factoring in about 60 to 70% of your actual payment. So obviously these numbers would be even higher if you're considering taxes and insurance on top of that. So Spokane County is right over here. The average house payment is going to be about 36.5% of the household income here in Spokane. And so now we're going to jump around between map to map, but we can see that in Spokane County, I'm too far over. Here we go. Spokane County, the average median home price in Q4 of 2023 was $412,000, just shy of $413,000. And the average income, this data is a little bit older because it's census data, but in 2021, Spokane average income was somewhere around $60,000. The latest data is showing that the average household income is $77,244 per year here in Spokane. The median, the actual middle number, sits quite a bit lower at $57,000. So we have a kind of a big discrepancy. There are some high income earners in Spokane that are pulling the average income far away from the median income and showing that there's probably more people that make that around that median income range. So now the other interesting thing to think about is that first time buyers specifically. So I don't know how he pulled this data, where he got the information from, but the average first-time home buyer is going to pay 44.4% of their income, which basically maxing out their debt-to-income ratio for their mortgage payments, because the bank isn't going to will loan a little bit higher than this. Sometimes it's obviously not my recommendation to be paying half of your income every single month towards debt of any kind, but the average first-time home buyer is going to be about 44.4% on their payments. So a few things now I want to start comparing. One is, why is Spokane still attractive? Well, we can look up and down the west coast of Washington State, where we have our major cities like Bellingham, Seattle, and then all of the more suburban towns around there like Everett and Tacoma, all those things where the average buyer is spending 40 to 50% of their income. In Kittitas County, they're spending 53.7%. For some reason, the homes in Ellensburg are really expensive. And then we just have some crazy numbers like the San Juan Islands, where there's like tons of vacation homes. Most likely is the reason for this is that there's a lot of low income people in those areas, but a lot of vacation properties. The income to housing ratio is 83.2%, and for first-time home buyers, it is over 100%. So there's probably a pretty low amount of owner-occupied properties in that area. So now looking at Spokane compared to other surrounding counties. So one thing I wanted to note is that I've actually been doing more deals in Lincoln County recently because I've had some people trying to get a little bit more bang for their buck. And so Lincoln County is where Davenport, Washington is located. It's kind of like, it's a small town, but a really solid community, good schools. There's a hospital out there. There's a main strip with restaurants and groceries and pharmacies. And it's 25-minute drive to Airway Heights, which is a town right outside of Spokane, where the Fairchild Air Force Base is, Northern Quest Casino, and it has just about every amenity you would need. It has grocery stores, Walmart, restaurants, all that kind of stuff. And so you don't even have to make the additional 15-20-minute drive into Spokane. You can really get most of the things you would need in Airway Heights. And if you're looking for a true like date night or entertainment day, your family can get up in the morning, drive into make the hour drive into Spokane, and have your entertainment for the day and drive home that evening. So I've had a few people looking at Lincoln County because the average income is actually pretty much the same as Spokane County, but the home prices are significantly lower. Looking back at the median price per county here, Lincoln County's median home price is $242,000. So it's almost, it's approaching half of what Spokane County is, probably like 40% of what Spokane County is. So I've seen more and more people move out that way. So if you are looking to live in Spokane and you're not afraid to drive a bit into downtown, like you don't need downtown amenities, you just want to be within an hour of the city, but within 20-30 minutes of major utilities and major amenities, like grocery shopping and things like that, Davenport can actually be a pretty decent option. And then even places like Stevens County, when you start getting up into Chewelah and Valley, these another great option as well, to be within an hour drive of the city of Spokane, the downtown core, but really only be about 30 minutes from major amenities and most everything that you would need. So now we got to look at our neighbors, because a lot of people, if you're looking at Spokane, a lot of people were even starting to look at Idaho and just realized it was too expensive. So then they came over to Spokane, or maybe have a job in Spokane and you're open to looking in Idaho. And so the average home price in Q4 in Kootenai County, which is where Coeur d'Alene is, was $546. Bonner County was $387. There's just a lot of rural stuff in there. If you were looking in like Sandpoint or Haydn, Idaho, it's definitely more expensive than that. And I don't have the exact numbers for percentage of income or anything like that. If relatively the same, if not lower, over in Coeur d'Alene on average income. So your percentage of monthly income needed for housing would go up even more. So this map really shows housing affordability in a great way. So the green line is Washington State and the purple line is Spokane. And this is just basically shows housing price, the affordability index. So at line 100, at 100 points, basically it is considered an affordable market. The average person should be able to afford the average home. And so in years like 2015, 16, 17, more than the average, like the majority of people could afford maybe 2/3 of the home on the market. So there was many available homes to people that earned the average income. You were almost 200% or 100% over what would be considered affordable in 2015. And as we hit 2019, we started to hit that affordability line. We were right at it. And then we've had a drastic decrease over the last few years, showing now that we're at a 61.1. And so that would basically be like 40% of the people that could afford a home have now fallen off. Only about 60% of people in the area could afford the average home. And so we see many articles like Spokane housing remains out of reach. The next affordable city is already too expensive. Spokane home prices jumped 60% in the last 2 years. And this was written about 2 years ago. And unfortunately, the thing that we only really see, and that I don't know if it's actually helping our problem here in Spokane, is that we're looking at building hundreds of housing units planned for Spokane Valley, but what type of housing units? It's not really fixing the problem for the average person. These are 300 subsidized housing units that are great for people that on the brink of homelessness or are homeless or anything like that and need to get into housing, which we need those as well. But this 300 units that are going to be subsidized housing is not going to fix the problem for the average person that wants to get into the average home. We're still going to be struggling with our numbers of homes available, and this big push to fix the missing middle to build duplexes and triplexes and things like that, I don't think is necessarily going to fix the problem for the average person. Homeownership is something that I believe the majority of people still want. They don't necessarily want to rent for the rest of their life. They don't want to be in a duplex forever. And there's a lot of pride in owning land and owning your home and things like that. And so we have to continue pushing to build and finding ways to build. So I don't have the answers, but I would love to see some of these initiatives allow builders to more affordably build homes. There's a lot of city incentives right now that give tax subsidies to builders to build multifamily. And that's why you're seeing so many multifamily properties get built up. If they put a certain percentage of low income apartments in there, which is a super low number of low income units that qualify the building to qualify as a low income building. It's not the majority. It's very much a minority of the units have to qualify low income, and then they can get a huge tax write-off on these apartment buildings. So a couple of things to just remember is that it is a supply and demand issue. This will always be a problem if we cannot build more. If you are moving from another area, consider what your income will be in Spokane and how much of it is going to have to go towards housing. I think it might surprise you. And two, if you're just looking to make a move to Washington State, look around at the many different beautiful counties. A lot of people know it for the western side of the state, but there's a lot of beauty in the eastern side as well, and your money might go a little bit further. So if you found this video helpful and you want some more information, reach out to me at the link down below. You can schedule a meeting on my calendar at a time that's convenient for you. I'm Haydn Halsted, your real estate resource here in Spokane, Washington. Thanks so much for watching the video, and we'll see you in the next one.